Hi, everyone. When I was a kid, I had a lot of problems with allergies and asthma. It seemed like I was allergic to just about everything under the sun, and if I exerted myself too much, I would have trouble with my breathing afterwards. And you would think that my wonderful, fantastic, magnificent family doctor might write me a little note for gym class excusing me from it. He wouldn't, even with all the problems I had. So I was subjected to suicide inducing humiliation at times when it came to playing sports. And as a result, I hated gym class more than anything else in the world. But there was one good thing going to see this doctor who would give me allergy shots every 2 to 3 weeks. It was the magazines he had in his waiting room. One day, I was about 12 years old, I guess, and I picked up a copy of Popular Science magazine. They had a test of three compact Japanese sedans, and I thoroughly enjoyed reading the article. It's the first time I ever really read something that was automotive oriented and in detail like that. I had loved cars ever since I was a baby, literally since I was an infant. By the time I was in kindergarten, this is no joke, I'm not bragging, I could back it up. I could tell you the make and model of nearly every vehicle I saw from more than a block away. And anyway, the Mazda 626, the newly redesigned for 1983 Mazda 626, was the winner in the comparison test in this issue of Popular Science magazine. And ever since then, I became hooked on reading anything in magazines or newspapers that was automotive related. And I got into reading Popular Science, got into heavily reading Consumer Reports, and I would read Hot Rod, Car Craft, Car and Driver, and Automobile. There's a couple of them I really didn't like because their articles wouldn't make sense, or I caught them saying one thing in one paragraph and another thing in another paragraph. And I decided I just wasn't going to read their magazines anymore. But I've always loved vehicles. I had taken auto shop in high school, and even though I could grasp the knowledge mentally, it was a lot more difficult for me. It took a lot more effort to actually work on vehicles, even if it was maintenance in the auto shop class in high school. You put a wrench in my hand, suddenly I'm lost. But I could tell you in detail all the specifications necessary and everything that had to be checked for a vehicle to run properly. And it got to the point where, off the top of my head, I knew the latest, uh, the latest information that was put out by the vehicle magazines or the sections of the newspaper or a certain magazine like Popular Science that offered up information on cars and trucks and SUVs and minivans. Minivans were just getting popular in the mid 1980s thanks to the Dodge Caravan and Plymouth Voyager. And there's one thing that has always bugged me by people who even are well informed. Even a few mechanics, believe it or not, have had arguments with me about this. And I have had to argue right back with every fiber of my being to prove them wrong. I want you to listen once and for all, world, especially those in the United States of America. Honda and Hyundai are not the same company. They are not the same company. I know they may sound similar, but Honda is Japanese, Hyundai is Korean. If Honda and Hyundai were the same, then Honda vehicles would have Mitsubishi powertrains in them, just like the Hyundais do, or the Hyundais used to actually. When the Hyundai Excel first arrived in America and started to garner some attention around 1987 or so, everybody was saying, oh, Honda and Hyundai, yeah, they're the same. And I mean, I've almost had barroom brawls with people thinking that Honda and Hyundai are the same. If you were to park a Hyundai Excel as we knew it in the United States anyway. It was called the Hyundai Pony in Canada, or a variation of it was, I believe. If you were to park a Hyundai Excel next to a Mitsubishi Prius, you would see they're the same vehicle. Just the badges and a couple of trim markings around each vehicle are a little bit different, but they're the same thing. They came off the same assembly line. Okay? Hyundais never came off the same assembly line as Hondas. All right? Okay, end of story. You can go to your local auto parts store and see if the part numbers line up. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. Now, on that note, I will tell you that my favorite vehicles happen to be the older American cars. Those are my favorites. My wife and I have a Toyota, which we love to death. 18 years old. It's got 168,000 miles on it. Still running strong. It looks pretty bad, but it runs fantastic. But I wish it were one of the old American cars. We had a wonderful, a fantastic, a terrific, whatever superlative you could think of in your mind, that was this car. It was a 69 Chevy Nova. It had a 2-barrel 307 with a single exhaust, TH350 transmission, and a 10-bolt rear end. I don't remember what the gear ratio was in the rear end. AM/FM sound system, air conditioning, power steering, and power brakes. And that car never complained. The only thing that we really had a problem with was the fuse for the fuel gauge sending unit. That was the only problem we ever had with that car. My grandparents bought it new. They gave it to my parents as a wedding gift, a 5th anniversary present in 1974. And they said, "Here, Bill, Laney, take the car and enjoy it." And we did for a number of years after. And that's one of my favorite cars of all time, is that 69 Chevy Nova. So I just want you to sound halfway intelligent, because if a dummy like me knows that Honda and Hyundai aren't the same, then you should sound halfway intelligent in such an argument too, because you might find yourself in the same argument. And you're going to be right if you listen to me. Okay? I will say that. All right, I love you. Be good. We'll see you next time.